I'm gonna start this video here, and the reason I'm starting it here is because this is where you're gonna enter the ship. And when you enter the ship, I mean when you embark to get on it in Miami, in the port of Miami, this is where Icon of the Seas, where you enter, and this will be the first place you will see. I'm gonna quickly go through everything and kind of talk as much as I can about it, but there's a full, just a lot of things going on right now because right now is the evening before the last day. So this is second to last full day. It's a sailing day. We're headed to Coco Cay, if I'm not mistaken. That's a private island the Royal Caribbean owns, and apparently it's supposed to be really, really, really nice. So I'm gonna go walk around, show you all the things that they have to offer. We may have audio in this, I mean not, just because there's music playing in the background, and so it might get kind of hectic. So when you first enter, you come into this, which is the main bar that they greet you at, kind of get your drink, and then you go from here. This is the most iconic part of the ship, if you ask me, and the reason being is because this is considered the pearl. So this is where you see the giant pearl that actually supports a single deck above it, if I'm not mistaken. And then as we move along, this is guest services. If you ever need anything while you're on the ship, this is a place that you're gonna end up going. This is like your customer service. And then we come over to the left, there's Point of Feather. I really didn't care to do any of this, and I'll show you why. Because most of the time this is gonna be a paid service that's gonna be here. So you can see that they have the prices here. You can get a alcohol beverage package. I believe it's $1,200 extra for it, so I opted out of it. So this is the 5th floor, and then this is where you would book your next cruise. And if we come across, this is where Port Merchant's at, and this is where you can, if I'm not mistaken, get duty-free alcohol, but don't quote me on that, but basically you get your booze here on board from here, which is usually more expensive than you think. And then if we keep walking after we made that left, you'll see that they have displays. There's usually a bathroom pretty close to all the elevators and most of the floors, so that's something if you're ever worried. But if we go through here, and we're on the 5th floor still, if you go to the very end, or aka the aft, we're headed towards the aft, so the back of the ship. This is where the main dining room, the top of the main dining room will be, and this is open for usually reservations or my time dining, and I'll go over that. So if we go to the starboard side, which is the right side of the ship, you can come out here where the dining room would be, and this is where you get to the main area as to where the track where you can run on the ship is, and you can see that on the left side is the slow side and the right side is the fast side. This is pretty remarkable. You can actually walk this entire thing. It's a full loop around the ship, and I'll show you a map in a second. I apologize for the wind in advance, but if we come right back to where the main entrance would be, so I'll try and speak over the music, but behind the Pearl, I forgot to say, that's also an area where you can book your excursions. So right behind it, you'll see that there's desks and desk areas so that you can book the excursions. And then you come here, and this is your Starbucks. This is paid, so you do have to either have the drink package, or you're just gonna be expected to pay what the normal prices of Starbucks would be. And actually, even more so, a little bit more expensive, but not too bad in my opinion. Directly across, you have the gift shops where you can buy stuff that's to Royal Caribbean. And then they keep setting this up with different things. Earlier they had t-shirts that were for sale that were 2 for $30. And then you come here, and then it's just a collection. Again, this is if you want to do shopping. Why somebody does shopping on board, I really don't know, but maybe you're coming from another country, it's cheaper to get it. I totally understand that. Then you have Sorrento's here, and Sorrento's is basically a free pizza joint. Let's walk in there. But basically you walk in here and they pretty much only have this selection of pizza, so be prepared for this, which is going to be pepperoni, vegetarian, classic pepperoni, vegetarian, classic pepperoni. So only 3 choices of pizza. In my opinion, if I were to rate it from 1 to 10, it's probably between a 6 and a 7. Not the worst, not the best. It's like DiGiorno's, if you've ever had DiGiorno's. They do have booze here. Again, if you have the drink package, it makes sense. One thing that most people don't know about these, so you'll see these and you'll get very excited, but unless you have the drink package, this won't work because there's an RFID tag on the bottom of the cup that they gave you that actually works for this. So if you tried putting a regular cup in from here, I'll show you, it will not work because you will try and click Coke and it says you're gonna need a different cup, just ask the counter. So it's an RFID tag that you would need from a cup from there. So if you come out here, you have tables that have Parmesan and peppers and parsley, if that's what you're going for. Right across from it is Spotlight Karaoke. I've yet to actually go into the karaoke area. Haven't really tried it. Again, you have more shops here. Didn't even really care to go into this, but if you're coming from another country and it's cheaper, it totally makes sense for you. And then if we go towards the back here, you're gonna come up to 3, 6, 12 different elevators that you can pick from. Sorry, 10 different elevators that you can pick from. And again, if you go to either the port side or the starboard side, this is where you're gonna reach the area to go outside so that you can walk around the entirety. And again, this is deck 5. And if you see this, it tells you how many laps for you to accomplish each section. So if you do 1 lap, that's 2,100 feet. If you do 1 mile, it's 2.4 laps. And again, it shows you where you're at, where you can run around the entire ship, where you have entrances as well, and where you go from there. So if we come back in, you do have the ability to go up and down the ship on both port side and starboard side, right side and left side of the boat, or the ship, I should say. And if you come to the very front, this will be where the Royal Theater is. So if you walk into here, this is the 2nd floor of the Royal Theater. And what you'll find in the Royal Theater is usually the Wizard of Oz is played here. And in this case, they happen to have a juggler that's going to be doing an act here. So this is really cool. And I'll have a video about this in my other video where you can see part of what they actually do here. But it's cool because they do have really nice seating. And this usually doesn't fill up a whole ton. So you can actually get a seat. And most of the time, these things, you have to have reservations for. But if you don't have reservations, you can easily stand in line after, I think, 10 minutes before the show, and most of the time you can get in, and there is plenty of places to stand, so it's not too bad. For those who are fitness gurus or whoever wants to keep working out while they're at the gym, the fitness center is out this way. So in this case, this is the starboard side. I said that was a starboard side, but that's port side. Sorry. So if we walk towards the front of the ship on the starboard side, so the right side of the ship, you'll see that the fitness center is up here. On a night like tonight, it's not super humid. It's actually quite windy because we're under sail. You might be able to hear it in the background noise of my microphone. It's actually quite nice to walk out here, especially after dinner and whatnot. So as you can see, this is where the fitness center would be. There are 2 levels to the fitness center. To be honest with you, only been to this main level, so we'll see both the levels in just a second. And it seems like they have a pretty decent setup. To be 100% honest with you, I tried coming in. This is, I believe, 18 or up. So if you're not 18 years old, you cannot be here. And I see why, because the last thing you want to do is be working out with kids. What's really nice is that they do offer towels here. So while you're working out, you can get towels, no issues. And while you're pedaling your bike or running on the treadmill, you can actually see just where we're sailing, and this happens to be the port side, so the left side of the ship. What's really cool is you can actually look out in the distance and see other ships. That happens to be an MC cargo ship. But they have ellipticals, they have bikes, they have treadmills, pretty much anything that you might need while you're working out. Televisions, a water station, so if you bring your own water bottle. It's not super big, but you have enough. But I can see when this fills up with a lot of people, it can get very hectic. They do offer lockers, and they also have restrooms down below. And what's really, really cool about the ship that I really have a lot of respect for is that they have a lot of handicap accessible bathrooms. So now we're on the starboard side, on the right side. You can be running on your elliptical, and you could see the right side of the ship, which is really cool. So this is kind of where the ship starts to do its thing like this. Hence why the window's all weird like that. So if we come through the entrance and go on the right, then you reach the starboard side or the right side, and this is where you can access the 2nd level of the gym walking up the stairs. I have no clue what this is, but I'm assuming is if you get in a private session, this is probably where you would meet with a trainer of some sort. But again, beautiful views out into the ocean, which is what I really love about this ship. More towels. It looks like this would be the spin room in here, so you'll have access to a spin room. I'm not sure if this is part of the package or if you have to end up paying, but it looks like they do provide shoes, they provide towels, and you have a full-fledged spin class. Again, you have to look to see if you have to pay for this. I think you do, but maybe I'm wrong. And then on the right side, it looks like there is room for yoga here, and it looks like they have art being displayed right now. I believe this is Park West, that they're auctioning off all this art, which is really cool. And if we keep walking towards aft, you can see that this is an additional entrance to it. And again, beautiful windows wrapping all around it, which is really nice. Again, I haven't been here. This is the first time that I'm here myself. So we'll go around, and this is now we're on the 6th deck. Again, pretty nice that you have entrances everywhere, and you have stairs pretty much getting everywhere. And then you have your 10 elevators. Now this is the forward deck of deck 6. Here's where they'll have the escape room, which is pretty cool that they have an escape room. And if you come in here, I don't know if it's going to be locked or unlocked. They have the Crown Lounge. I don't know what this is because I'm not part of Crown or anything like that. I interrupted an escape room that was about to happen, but that's pretty cool that they do have an escape room. You do have to pay for this. I think it's like 40 bucks or 35 bucks per person to come. Then you start heading towards the rear of the ship. Again, you can make a right here, and this is where you can get to some more stairs. This is the port side of the ship, so left side of the ship, and you're gonna have bathrooms here, pretty accessible. It's really cool. They have these things where you wave and it opens the bathrooms, and the bathrooms are very handicap accessible, very spacious, very good. Won't disrespect people's privacies in there, but yeah. If we go towards the aft of the ship, so the rear of the ship, we come to the midship here, and in the midship here they have over here, this is a studio basically for, or not a studio, but this is where they have most live comedy, which in my opinion is actually pretty good. I did go to the show. The Catch 2 comedians were pretty good, so don't have anything to complain about that. So on the starboard side, which is the right side of the ship, you're gonna have dueling pianos, which is really cool. There is 2 pianos here, and you'll hear them play the pianos, which is really cool. It's a really fun area to come in. You can tip them, you can put a request. I'm not sure what they're doing tonight. There's probably some sort of special event. The really cool part about the ship is that they use these rooms for multiple things, but you can walk all around this area. And over here is where the live band will be, that kind of place for everybody, which is really cool. And they're just jamming out. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes not loud. Today's kind of like moderate right now. Then you come to Giovanni's. Again, this is another paid area where you have to pay for what you want out of here. So you can go into here and you can see their list of what it is that you are gonna get. You can see prices. For the most part, it's not too bad. It's pretty reasonable for booze, in my opinion. But very nice atmosphere, very vibey, very nice. And again, it's a menu, and I'll see if I can get a menu. So you can kind of see here what they have to offer and whatnot, which is really nice, and what's the cost of this. So just found out it's $65 per person, about $20 per kid, and it's all you can eat. It's still paid, which is kind of unfortunate. I did not try it out, but $65 isn't terrible. He did say if you bring a bigger group, he could give us 40% off. And then you come to here and you have Schooners, if I'm not mistaken, which is just a bar. Again, if you have a drink package, it'll be part of it. If you don't, then you're going to be paying for each individual drink, and the prices can vary, as you can kind of see quickly through the menu. And then you have Boleros right across from it on the port side, which is the left side of the ship. We're facing the front, and it looks like it's just kind of like a bar area for you to do. And again, it looks like they could have live music there as well. Very vibey, very modern, very cozy in here, so you can kind of chill, drink, listen to music, and they probably do other things like try and sell you on stuff during the day here. But for the most part, really nice, cozy area. I do appreciate about the ship is that they do have art installations all around that you can see like this. But if we keep going towards the aft deck, so the rear of the ship, you'll see what's back here. And on the aft deck, you do actually have 12 different elevators. And what's cool about this, it's kind of modern. So if I want to go up to my deck, which is deck 9, I just click deck 9 and it'll say, okay, head to elevator D. You head to elevator D, it takes you there. So there's no actual physical pressing of the buttons while you're back there. You do everything from this board, and then everybody kind of congests into one area. Now, if we get towards the rear, this is going to be the kids area. So for people that have kids, this is going to be where you're going to go drop off your kids. So it's called Adventure Ocean, which is really cool. They have tablets that your kids can play with while they wait. And they do AO babies, which is really cool. And you can see that it's 6 from 36 months. So they do have this area over here that's for 3 to 5 year olds. Try and be as private as possible for other people on the ship. It's very cool, very vibey for kids, and I believe it's up to age 12 if I'm not mistaken, so 6 to 12 will be in the very end over there. Now if we come back over to the starboard side, you come here, There's a little section for the Park West area, which is an art gallery, which is really cool, and you can buy things from it. Very, very small. It's actually really cool. I don't even know who this is, but it's really cool. If we keep walking towards the rear, again, they have a shop here, which they actually have vineyard vines, which is really cool that they put Icon of the Sea on one of the shirts. But if you keep walking back here, I didn't know about this until I experienced it, but they have a sports bar, which is really cool. They're very chill. They have a ton of TVs going, which is really cool because I don't believe our rooms actually get these channels. So if you wanted to catch a game while you're on board, you can come drink. If you have the drink package, you can probably be drinking booze away with no issues, watching the game that you want. And they do have certain things that kids can play, or adults as well. But this is key. If you're looking for absolute zero and you don't know where it is, you have to walk through this bar and you have to go towards the back here. And if we walk into absolute zero, I don't believe there's a show going on right now, but I can kind of show you here. But this is basically where the ice skating rink is and when they do the ice show. So down there is a giant ice skating rink. Don't know how big it is, but it's quite spacious. And I will say that the show is totally worth watching. It's really cool to catch a show out there, which is really nice. And they do have bathrooms up here, so if you're watching the show and you do happen to need to use the bathroom, you don't have to go super far, which is really nice that the ship has a lot of this to offer. So you can see that they have bathrooms pretty much readily available, and again, handicap accessible, so that if you need to do it, you can push the button to get it opened. And I believe that they also have an elevator for handicapped people to get down without any issues, so I believe that's this way. But if we walk back out of here and through the bar again, I'll show you where we get to. So if we walk out of here, out of this main area where the sports bar is, Absolute Zero and Park West, and we hug a left, we get to what they call Surfside. And this is the bottom of Surfside. Often you get confused. This is level 6 down here. You see their giant flamingo, and then you start to see that this is more oriented for kids and family, this left side, which is really good because I personally have 3 kids. I have a 1-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-year-old, and this is literally paradise for them. Most of the time we're here if we're not in the pools. On the right side over here, or the port side, left side of the ship, they have a slide that if you're coming from level 8, that you can have your kids slide down, which is really cool. There is an arcade here, and this does happen to be a paid arcade, so you have to pay, which I think is pretty lame in my opinion, but you'll see why in just a second. You have regular stuff, but this is like $3.50 to play one of these. So you can really start to add everything up. I mean, they have claw machines. They have these guys here, which is really nice. We can see how much the price of these are. It's $2.50. I think that's the cheapest that you can find. And they have other stuff there as well. But it adds up very quickly, and you can insert cash, and I guess it'll give you the Sea Pass to load it in with whatever you need to do. And then on the starboard side, you're gonna have the Surfside eatery, and here I'll show you what it's all about. And this pretty much changes every day to what they have to offer. The steak here is really good. Haven't had any of this, but looks like it's finished for a while. But they do have Captain Hook's fish fingers, pizzas that don't look very appetizing. But then this is where the kids go crazy because they have all these desserts that you have available for you. They do have bread, and then they do have toppings to put on the bread or any other things. And then they do have a soft serve here for ice cream. Then if you come directly across, you'll find that your coffee is free, and so is hot tea. And they'll have all the stations there as well as water. This is really nice because they offer water and ice for free. In most places you're going to go get food, they do have flavored waters, which is really nice. And then obviously your ketchups and all that you need. For the most part, it's pretty spacious to eat inside or outside. On a nice day like this where it's not so bad, I mean, it's a little humid back here, but the breeze is blowing. It's not bad to come and eat out here. And then on the starboard side, so the right side of the ship towards the rear, they do have a towel area where you can rent out towels. And then they do have also this carousel here. What's cool about the carousel is it is free, which is a really nice thing. It's not a super long ride, but you know, it's better than nothing. Then you have this really weird, funky play area that I have yet to understand it because there's no slides or anything. It has your kids go up there, but then they can kind of get trapped up there. And as you can tell from here, it's not very spacious. The kids barely fit, and I can see them bunking their heads more than anything else. So again, I don't understand this area. I think it was a good attempt, but over there is kind of weird. And then they have this weird loop-de-loop thing that's still kind of interesting. But so far, this is the Surfside bites, which is really cool. And you can see from here, they happen to be closed because it's dinner time. But the main bites is going to be popcorn, chicken, hot dog, cheeseburger, pizza, Tootsies, and then French fries. They're sweet. Let me be the first to tell you, the cinnamon sugar churros are the bomb. Confetti cookies, and not so good. And then the fruit skewers, obviously it's fruit, so if you like it, it's great. And here's, again, all you can eat, so you can just keep coming back eating chicken fingers or popcorn chicken for your kids. And then they have sprinkles, which is where you get ice cream. The only downside to the ice cream is they only have either vanilla or chocolate, but it's not the end of the world. Pretty surprised it's pretty empty, but not at the same time, because this is during dinner time, so there's probably not many kids here right now. One thing I forgot to show, and I didn't really care to show, was there's Sugar up there. Sugar is this area where you can go get candy. Let me show. I didn't actually go in here, but you do have to pay for everything that you get here. It is weighted, so you're gonna pay a lot of money for that candy, which is not necessary because your kids already are gonna get enough sugar while they're out here. I will add that this is 42 above, so that you can actually sit by yourself. If not, you can bring your babies on there without any issues. You just need an adult for them. Again, another nice sitting area for you to sit and eat your things from Surfside bites, or just hang out here while your kids are in the splash pad area. They also have another paid restaurant, which is called Pier 7, and you can kind of get the idea of what they have to offer here. And it says, look, most of the times make your selection by choosing 3 courses and 1 for each category for $24.99. So about 25 bucks and you can eat in here. Let's quickly go look and see what it's all about. Nice and simple. Again, you won't find me there because I'm frugal when it comes to this. They do have this, and I think this is their flaw. They should have a bigger bathroom here, but they have a bathroom here, which is a family bathroom and handicap accessible bathroom. And it's pretty spacious, it's pretty big. I don't have anything to complain. It is AC, but most of the time when the door stays open, these doors don't close very quickly, so it'll get pretty humid in there. And if I'm not mistaken, lifeguard area here, and then areas for you to get life jackets and whatnot. And you can kind of just come back here and chill. You can watch the back of the ship if you have your kids in here. I've come in here, I think, once or twice, but you can see that this is the back of the ship. And this is probably the lowest part of the ship before you get to the actual bottom of the ship. So they do have these pools here. Surprisingly, these 2 outer ones are pretty deep. I think water came down to like about almost to my stomach here. And the other ones are more just like splash. Kids that are not over 48 inches tall, they cannot get into the bigger slides, which I'll show in a little bit. So if that's something that your kids want to do, this is a great alternative. Both my 7-year-old and 5-year-old love this slide, and it's really nice because it's just very simple. They don't have to wear a life jacket. Actually, they're encouraged to take it off. Not encouraged, you have to take it off, so it's very simple. The green slide's pretty nice, and then this is just nice simple water attractions for them to just kind of splash around. What's really cool is this orange thing's pivots, but anywhere where it would get the crowd wet, it automatically shuts off, so it's only getting the people in this area wet, so you don't have to worry about being out there and getting splashed on. They have showers, which is really nice, and it looks like this is a cabin up here. What I really enjoy about this ship is that they offer these cabins here. So I feel like normally on most ships this would be covered and you would just kind of be on the underside, but this is all open here. But what's really cool is that you offer these balconies to people, so you're in a stateroom where you're either facing the inside here or facing the outside out there, which is really nice because you essentially still get a balcony. I don't ever really see many people out here, to be honest. What they do is they do this where they kind of hang dry their clothes up there, which is really cool. And then obviously I'll show you more as we get higher, but you can tell that from here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 levels of just staterooms that are all going to be there with a balcony. We happen to be staying in one of these, which is level 9 here, which is really simple. You don't get to open your window or anything, but you do get to see at least a window that faces outside, so your room is never just fully covered, which is nice. You'll find another Coca-Cola machine, and again, it's RFID tag. Ice does still flow through here, which is really nice. And this rear, the most aft of the ship on the starboard side, which happens to be the right side, you'll have another area for you to get booze. So if you're looking to drink and have your kids still have fun, you can get this pretty readily available there. And what's really nice is they usually have waiters that come around without an issue and ask you what you want for your drinks. And normally they'll ask you for your room card, which is this, and you show it to them and they're able to get you the drinks that you want. So if I'm not mistaken, this cabin right here happens to be one of the nicer ones. that they have to offer. If I could get in there, it'd be really cool. And they do happen to have this private area here. So this is big money over here because it's like 2 or 3 levels and it's got a loft and everything for you to do what you need to do, which is really nice. But that's like usually the people that spend a lot of money for their room. One thing that I do want to express is when I saw the clothes out here, they don't offer any kind of self laundry services on the ship, which in my opinion is one of the biggest flaws. And this kind of goes to show that they want you to spend your money and spend more money than just in the inclusiveness. I think that's by far my biggest complaint about this ship, or about just in general on cruising, is the fact that they want you to spend all this money. So if you need to do laundry, they have like a laundry list that you can give them, that you would have to then put your clothes into a bag, and then they charge you per piece of article or clothing that you would have to wash, which is a flaw in my opinion. But this is deck 7. If we keep going towards the front of deck 7 and we go through the doors past the Flamingo, let me show you what's there. Again, another bathroom if you need to use the bathroom. This happens to be, I believe, just a unisex one, which is really nice. But if we walk through here, then we get to a really nice cooled area. But most of the time, again, it's going to be pretty humid because these doors, despite the fact that they should open and close, so to avoid having to get the humidity in here, they don't. So on a busy day when everybody's walking, this is what you're going to get. And for the most part, for deck 7, this is all you're really going to see. I'm going to drop back down to deck 8 or 6 and show you what it's all about too. But you would normally go either to the port side or starboard side, and this is where you would get to all the staterooms on either side of it, which is really nice. And then this is what your hallways are going to look like. They happen to be having night service done, so you can see this is always going to be pretty busy unless it's really early in the morning or late at night. But we're going to walk down back to deck 6 so I can show you other things. So it's a little funky to get to the forward part of deck 7. You have to do kind of something interesting because there is no direct access from here. It kind of ends here, and so I'll show you where that goes. This would normally be deck 7 right above us here, but because there is no deck 7 because of the openness of the ship, which I actually really love because it gives it a lot of space, so it's technically dead space. To get to deck 8, which is where the kids area would be, the backside, that's where that is. It's called Central Park, and you're gonna reach that on the backside of the Pearl over there. Let me show you that. It is kind of interesting that they have these like lookout things. Let me see if my camera will pick it up, but you can kind of see through them. And you can look at random people while they're walking by. That happens to be below on deck 5, which is kind of interesting to me. But if you go past the comedy club, and what you'll know it's a comedy club is because of the brick, you'll come up to another more like coffee shop. If you get coffee here, it's specialty drinks. You will have to pay for them. But what is nice is they do have kind of, I mean, I guess you don't have to pay for those because those are the milk options, but you do have access to get to these, which it just happens to be icebox, ham and cheese salad, beet sprout salad, and then can't really read what that says there. And then you have access to utensils. Again, more things you can just come up and grab, and then you have other sandwiches in here on this, and this is all inclusive, so you can come and order this as many times as you want. Nothing that really rings my bells here for this, but then you also have chocolate bar is what it says, peanut chocolate tart, and then blueberry pound cake. I haven't tried that. It looks like it'd be pretty good. And then lemon ginger cake too, and then ricotta cheese with strawberries. So you can get this, but again, the coffee is not included unless you have a drink package with it. But this is the backside of the Pearl. You have a nice area to sit, big massive windows where you can look out. And then at night, this is what you'll notice is people get dressed up. This does happen to be Dress Your Best, and this is the inside of the Pearl, which is really nice. And that in itself is a work of art. But if we go towards Central Park area, which is the stairs to the right of this coffee shop, I'll show you what's up here. Then we reach the Central Park area. It's a nice little walk up, nice little open area over here. And then we get basically to where a lot more paid restaurants will be. So go towards the aft deck, or the aft of the ship, which is the rear of the ship. Have live music going on here, which is really cool. It's really nice if you keep walking. All these are real plants, which is really cool. I'm not sure how they keep it through the winter. And if I'm not mistaken, those are also real up against the walls, which is really nice. I will say it's not like a plant, it's individual like pots that you can see, like planters, which is really cool. So they try and keep them alive as much as possible. But I see if one dies, they'll probably pluck it and put a new one. If we go towards the back here, we have Park Cafe. And this is the only one that's part of the all-inclusive. But again, it's just kind of like a buffet style where you come and pick what you want. You have your drink area similar to what was down below in the kids area. One thing that the ship is really good about is they always want you to wash your hands. So they always have these wash areas and these stations where you can just come up and wash your hands without an issue, which is really nice. So if you're very, germophobic, this is a nice thing to do. And they do encourage people as they go through that they wash their hands as much as possible. This happens to be the backside of the Pearl that you're looking at here that actually holds this deck up. But if we keep going towards the back over here, you start to see that there's more dining options that they offer, / bar areas. There's nice seating areas. And right now I'm back here, the sun is down, we're cruising, so the wind is blowing, and it's a nice little cool area. So this happens to be another bar. So again, it's gonna be paid for, and it does look like it has live music as well. And then you have another shop that you can come and shop certain things that you want, whether it's watch or luxury things that you may want. And I was wrong. Oh, that's what it was. Well, I guess you could get back here from Surfside. I don't know why I missed this, but maybe I'm incorrect. So you can get through here. Oh, that's what it was. I can get back here. So 7th deck doesn't exist, but 8th deck does. So if you want to access it through Surfside, this is what I forgot. You actually have to walk all the way up through Surfside, because technically speaking, Surfside doesn't really have an 8th deck because it's such an open area. So essentially this is deck 8, but it kind of ends here. And this is where it's funky because we're on 8, then that's 7, and then right below it is 6. They do have a sunshine area, so if your kids need things, you can come here. Looks like they have sunblock and pretty much anything that you might need in here for your kids and yourself. You walk in, and another one of these interesting things where you can people watch, which is kind of interesting. I guess if you're looking for your child and you want to look through here, you would be able to. So you can watch random strangers right there, which is kind of interesting. But it's really cool because underside is painted. And again, you could see more decks up above in their balconies and what they have to offer. Well, we'll walk back over to Central Park and show you the front side of Central Park. So then we get to Central Park, and it's called Central Park for the way that it is. It's really funny to think that, but basically here's all the things that they have to offer. They have Lou's Jazz Bar, which is that one. Then they have fine watches, champagne window, Park Cafe, which is also paid for, Royal Promenade, which I believe that's how you get down below to the Royal Promenade, which is I guess the main deck when you all come in. And then you have Ismu's, which is a Japanese styled. And then you have Torelli's Bar, and then Chops, which is all paid for. This is headed towards the front, and it's called Central Park because it is on the central part of the ship, which is really cool. So then we walk back around. What's really cool is they do have windows here to let natural light down in to the other sides of the deck. Let me see if I can show you that. We'll eventually make it up there, but again, this is deck 8, and then you have deck 9, which is actually where I'm in. So if I'm not mistaken, our room is actually probably right below Lou's, which is where that light is on right there. I believe that's our room, if I'm not mistaken. So it's what they call 10% visibility is blocked because of that ledge there and this ledge here. Now, if you have other ones, you don't really have any privacy, or not privacy, but you don't have any views being blocked from it in general. It is really cool, and this is a perfect example. You can see that room, those windows actually fully open down so that you can let natural air into your room. Why you would do that on a day like this, I'm not sure, because I'm walking around. As you can see, I'm still sweating, which is crazy. But let's keep walking again. That's a Pearl. You have some seating area to look, which is really cool. You didn't even think about it, but you could see the water directly from being in the middle of the ship, which is something that I really enjoy about this ship. So again, Park Cafe, I might have said earlier, it's paid. That's part of all-inclusive as well. What they're really good about doing is having a photographer in areas of staging where you can get great shots. That's that Japanese restaurant where you can get sushi and hibachi, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what I was talking about. It's cool that you can sit down here, but you can look at the Royal Promenade down there. So that's Sorrento's. That's where you can get free pizza or all-inclusive pizza as part of it. Then if we keep coming around, we come to the exit of Central Park. So this is the forward deck. I don't even know what's up there. I never really even checked, to be honest with you. And then this is considered the Empire Supper Club. So I'm not sure if it's a paid thing. And again, to the right of that, there is bathrooms over here, and there's women's and men's as well. What's really nice is they do offer nice toilets. They do flush super loud. If your kids don't like that, it's almost like in an airplane. If your kids don't like that, just make sure you cover their ears, because that's, my boys do not like that. So I was saying, they have pretty cool art all around the ship. This happens to be one of it. But let's go up one level. We'll go up to level 9 so you can see what level 9 has to offer, which isn't much. So staterooms, this is pretty much level 9. This happens to be my level. You'll see that it shares it with Central Park, sorry. And then this is pretty much just gonna be where there's a ton of staterooms. We'll go over it real quick. 2 is a gangway. 3 is conference center, dining room area, medical center, music hall. Medical center is towards the front of it, if I'm not mistaken. And then 4 is dining room, music hall, casino. I'll show you the casino because I didn't show you that. We'll go back down there and we'll show you the dining room areas as well. The Royal Theater I showed you. Dining room on level 5. The Royal Promenade, obviously everything that I showed you. The fitness center. 6 is Adventure Ocean, which I showed you that. Again, Royal Promenade, Crown Lounge. 7 is Surfside, that's all the kids area. 8 is part of Surfside, which I don't know why. And then Spot Juice Bar between 12 and 14. So let's just jump up from level 8 to 12 and 14, because from 8 to 11 is pretty much just going to be a bunch of just areas for staterooms. And to get there, you just simply have to hit the number 12, wake up the screen, wait until it tells you to go to B, look for the letter B, which happens to be right there, and then we'll go up. Once you get into the elevators, you're greeted with this massive screen here, and it tells you where it's going. So we're on level 9, we're headed to 12, then to 15, and then it drops back down to 5. You do have the open and close buttons. Kids love to play with these, my boys do. It's kind of annoying, but if we come out of here, we get to deck 12, excuse me. And then if we come here, this is where the main entrance on deck 14 is. Viality at Sea Spa. I've never been there personally, so I really don't know about it much. But that's one of the things that they showed. But this is kind of where you can see the staterooms hug this area. And then again, you can see here, you're here, staterooms on level 14. And then that's where the spa is, and level 14. Then if we jump up to level 15, that's really cool because that's the AquaDome. So let's go to the AquaDome. From the AquaDome, we'll walk all the way back. And there's not much there, so we'll actually... I'm sorry, the Windjammer and all that, Chill Island. So I'll show you all that stuff. While we wait for the elevator to go to 15, again, you can see Central Park out from here. This is the most forward deck area. So past that is where the spa is, but we are in the front of the ship now, and that's the rear of the ship. Depending on how busy the elevators are, you can wait a minute for them. When we come into deck 15, we head straight to the AquaDome. Again, more art, which is really cool. And then you can kind of start to see what they have to offer at the AquaDome. This is probably the most beautiful part of the ship, if you ask me. But right now, they're probably gearing up for the show that they have here tonight. But if you go to, let's go to the right side and kind of loop around. But if you go to the right side, you can see that they have more stores on what they have to offer. I'll show you the AquaDome market in a minute, because that's definitely worth checking out. But we'll check out the AquaDome itself. This is where they do a beautiful, probably one of the best shows on this ship, to be honest with you. This is definitely one that's worth checking out. But if we keep walking back here, the aquatic shows that they have to offer, people are jumping from there. They have skate ramps, they have robots to set up the ramps. This actually, like, I believe 5 meters deep, which is kind of crazy. Scuba divers, and this is a nice area to just kind of sit, hang out, and watch. Totally worth checking out. Then you do happen to have a bar area here. And not much goes on back here other than if you want to see the very, very front of the ship. Again, very handicap accessible, which is really nice. You have this, if you're handicapped, you can get down there. But this is a beautiful area here. If you just want to sit and gaze and just enjoy the ride on a sea day, this is probably your best place to be, if you ask me. But let's go towards the front. They call this the overlook. You have nice little private chairs, and then you have this area here where you're just watching the ship just go, which is really cool. This can get hot here, but for the most part, they do a really good job of cooling it down with these ACs. But you're literally in a dome of glass. So just keep that in mind, which is kind of interesting. But if you walk, you can kind of see all, not the cabanas, but the private chairs that you can just sit up here and watch, which is really nice. The sunset does happen to be to the left rear of us here, but they have this area under there. You can kind of see that is one of the crew members that's just kind of hanging out there, which is really nice. This is where the crew hangs out. We can't really see it under here, but the crew area to hang out is there. And I'm assuming probably in these areas, I think that might be a hot tub, but maybe I'm wrong. But this is a nice area for you to kind of just hang out if you're part of the crew. I don't really know, but as you can see down there, somebody's checking out what's all about, which is really nice. I'm sure probably super peaceful if you're part of the crew and you go there to really disconnect. Again, they have a bar there, they have a bar here. So booze and just drinks are no, like, you're not gonna be shy of them. You're gonna find them pretty much anywhere. You can see again, the crew's just chilling down there and there, enjoy their time off, probably from working all the other activities that they work, which is really nice. You can keep walking around the rear over here. Beautiful, beautiful sunset, beautiful day at sea here, which is really nice. It's pretty nice that they have all this to offer. This bump out here, what you see is right below us, is where the area for the captain is, the main bridge. That's where they pilot the whole ship, and these areas are when they're pulling out of the docks, they can see the ship on both sides. Come around this area here. That's entrance for the crew of some sort. Then we get back to some more stairs and we get up to that area there. Get nice areas to do a lot with. These are cool because, oh, they don't even point outside, which is kind of nuts. I thought that's what they were for, but again, I guess this is so you can people watch here, which is kind of interesting. But we keep going. You can see there's nice areas for you to hang out as a family. There's kind of a couple of these domes over here, these areas here. And the nice sunset in the background there, which is really nice. But you can hang out as a family up here and then up there as well. And if we keep going around, this is the waiting area for that show, the aqua show. So you wait here and then they'll let you in. They're basically open all this stuff for people to come and sit. Definitely worth checking out. This is called Hooked. Again, this is not part of the all-inclusive, but this is probably where you're gonna find a bunch of the seafood. Looks like they got oysters or some sort of animals there. And again, it's more of a bar style too. You probably wrap around that side, which is nice. I'll show you the menu very quickly. You'll probably want to pause the video there and take a look for yourself, but a lot of seafood is what it looks like. So that's really mainly what this is all about, is seafood here. Now, if we leave the AquaDome, we head to the AquaDome market, and to get to the AquaDome market, you can do it right from the AquaDome, which is really nice. This happens to open at 10 a.m. So there's nice areas for you to get drinks, ice and water. Again, very safe, spacious and open with modern seating and everything. That's actually quite comfortable. This does happen to be on the starboard side. And this, what it has to offer is Toast and Garden, which is basically your area for getting sandwiches and or salads made here. Probably a la carte to the way you want it. Then you have Feta Mediterranean, so you have Mediterranean food that they'll make, which is basically falafels if you want it, or gyros of some sort. And then you have Max. Max wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't terrible. They have a bunch of different things they have to offer. And then I believe this is Ginger, which is just a Chinese place, like Chinese food, which has decent to offer. Not my taste. They do have woks there that they're cooking it, but this is where you'll find me most of the time, is right here in the crepe area. These crepes are to die for. They have them ready. They'll put pretty much anything you want from them, and this is what you pretty much can create with everything that they have there. This is a 10 out of 10 for me on this ship. If we go directly across and cut through where the elevators are on the forward side of the ship, we come to what they call Chill Island. And Chill Island opens up nicely, automatic doors, which I love. This is really nice because you can get seating here, which is very chill, very low key. What I don't like is how low how high these windows are, because it doesn't let a nice cool breeze in. But then for your kids, you have this area where they can come, or not kids, adults in general can come over here and play some ping pong, which is really cool. So you can find a lot of kids here all the time playing ping pong, and adults as well. Chill Island has a lot of hot tubs they have to offer. They have showers, which is really nice. Like, imagine hanging out in these hot tubs here while you're getting your drink and you're just watching the sunset, which is really nice. And then you do have these kind of like, not private or cabana like things, but you can hang out here and they'll probably fill that with ice and you keep your drinks in there, which is really cool. Right across it is a lime and coconut. This is another bar which happens to be closed right now, but then if you come out here, you keep coming, this is the port side of the ship, so the left side of the ship. We happen to be sailing this way, so we're headed towards the aft of the ship here. You'll get another nice pool area here. It's just very chill. They have an infinity pool. Let me see if I can come up to it. And it's kind of like a splash area for adults. You can have your drinks here. You can probably chill here. I actually don't think you can have drinks here. It says no drinks or food here, but there is a nice area to chill here. And that pool over there probably is a little bit deeper, which is nice. So an infinity pool here, which is really cool. You can catch the sunset. This happens to be closed right now. But then if we come to the middle of the deck here of 15, you can just kind of watch and sit here and chill, watching that side of the ship. What I really like is there's nothing really blocking you on this area of Chill Island. There's these hammock style chairs, and then this kid area is kind of cool. They have these swings you can kind of just hang out and chill with. And then they have this area here for the kids to jump around. Augie, my son, happens to love to jump back and forth in these and just hang out here all the time. They have these pillows that they throw on here. Very chill, very low key. And then they have the Cantina Fresca, which is all inclusive, not for drinks unless you have the drink package, but more for the food because they offer Mexican food here. So if we walk over here, normally it'd be open. They would have salsa, they would have sour cream, salsa, limes. Here they would have quesadillas, they'd have burritos, and then they would have burritos, and then they would have areas for you to just kind of make your own thing, your own tacos, which is really cool. And then you kind of can see there's nice seating areas. There is wind coming in because of we happen to have this open space here, and there is a hot tub there that you can chill in. The giant trident is kind of hanging out over here, so it kind of impedes your view a little bit, but not too bad. Sunset's beautiful nevertheless. And then that'll get you up to deck 16. We'll go up there in a second, but let me show you the other side. And I guess you could say this is kind of like their main pool area. It's really cool because they obviously have like the splash pad area where you can kind of walk on there, sit there. But the pool isn't very big if you ask me. I think there might be another one somewhere else, so we'll go look for it. But for the most part, you have speakers to play music kind of all around this deck. And then you have these areas to kind of just chill back here and enjoy yourself. Lime and coconut is back that way, and that's where the AquaDome was. You can just expect more chairs and more open area for you to kind of just hang out there. Towel area for you to get towels, and then life jackets. Towels are kind of a gimmick here. Not a gimmick, but you have to return them, otherwise they charge you $25 per room, if I'm not mistaken, if you don't return the towels to where they're supposed to be. So they'll let you take them out on excursions, but just make sure you bring them back, otherwise you get charged 25 bucks. Now we're walking towards the aft deck, or the aft of the ship, the rear. You get to the Windjammer station. Again, you can see in the Windjammer station, they're very open to telling you wash your hands. Pretty much have 8 sinks for you to wash your hand, but if you go towards the left here, on the left side here, you see that there is the catering, not the catering, but this is where the open buffet would be. You'll find breakfast here. And the breakfast that you find here, you'll find a bunch of different things. They happen to change this to be the hot dog and burger stations. But normally for breakfast, this is just filled up with just about anything and everything that you can imagine as far as breakfast foods go. In my personal opinion, this is probably some of the worst. I do not like the breakfast here. I'm very picky when it comes to it, but I just don't like it myself. But if you look over here, you have all this open area, which I promise you will get filled here during the morning because everybody comes here to eat breakfast. But we'll go to the other side because the other side is basically mirrored the same as here. So if you flip this, you're going to see that they have the same areas to eat here and everything. And so you'll see that there's this area back here. They do offer this, which is really cool, which is a gluten-free area. So it's cool that they have gluten-free. So if you have special dietary restrictions, it's nice that they offer this back here. Again, ketchup, mayonnaise, mustard, coffee, tea, water, all that, you'll have plenty of it around. So if you kind of cut across from here, it's a nice little area for the kids to play or to take pictures in front of with these popsicles, which is nice. And then you can see the Surfside down this way. We walk back this way. This is where you can see what's available for dinner up here, which is kind of interesting. They have an Asian style here, so I'm assuming it's probably just like hibachi, but more geared towards different things over there. I don't know what I was going with that, but then you also have the gluten-free area, which is really nice, and they have fruit here, which is really great. A lot of seating. You can tell some people that do my time dining and they don't want to do the formal dining room, they come here. They have a bar that you can have. Then they have the international food here, which is interesting because this is the first time I come up here to see what's available for dinner, so you can kind of get an idea. But they have just like vegetable lasagna, they have barbecue lamb pork chop, rice, fish, have veggies, which is nice. They have pasta, they have lasagna again, they have baked potatoes. It looks like it's lobster night up here as well. Then they have baked ham, which is or roasted prime rib, which is really nice. And then again, a salad bar where you can get salad and then you can get more food and more fruits, which is really nice. I did not even know this, and I'm kicking myself. They have an Indian food area, but you have lobster here, and then they have a ton of different Indian food. And now that I know this, I'm kind of sad because this looks like this would be amazing. They have butter chicken, which they had last night on the menu, which is by far the best. My favorite right there. And let's see if we keep walking around. They have a lot of inspired Indian food, which is great. Let's see what they have over here. They have masala chicken over here. And if we come over here, they have the nice desserts over here as well. You'll obviously find your standard stuff like cookies, not the greatest. Red velvet cake, which is today's special. And then I'm not even gonna pretend that I know how to pronounce it, but it looks really good nevertheless. And then it looks like sweet curry Indian funnel cake, which actually looks pretty amazing. And then the chilled banana cocoa custard vegan is really good. I tried that one tonight and it's really, really good. But they have a lot of different things, so you don't have to do, specific dining where you sit at the tables. We happen to be opting in for that just because it's easier for us. But they have grilled steak here, lobster tails, which is nice, hot dogs, burgers, pretty much anything that you can think of, they have it here. And they probably change this up every day like they do down below in the other places. I will say this area stays really humid because of going out to the middle over there, but we'll go up a deck. So from 15 to 16. This happens to only be one stairway. This happens to be called Hideaway Thrill Island. First time coming up here, to be honest. We're on the starboard side, aka the right side. And this is where you get to Thrill Island. I lied, I have been up here just to walk through it. But this is where you're gonna find basically all the things to do with water slides, which is really interesting. That's literally off the edge of the boat, which is cool because it feels like you're gonna fall off, my brother-in-law was saying. So we'll walk back towards here. And this is kind of a drawback if you have younger kids, because if they don't meet the requirements, they're not gonna ride the slides. This one's for pressure drop, storm surge, and hurricane hunter. But again, 48 inches to 52 inches. This is where they come out of the slides here. And this is where they're dropping into the slides. Again, where they're coming off the slides here, you'll see that they come out of here. This is a wet area, so if you don't want to get wet, don't walk back towards this area. If your kids are old enough, they're probably going to enjoy this. You can cut them loose, have them go here. One thing that I do not like about this ship is that there is no real way of being able to get a hold of your kids. They have the app. I have Android. It's not really the most user-friendly, in my opinion, when it comes to it. Like getting, more up-to-date things. The Wi-Fi, if you're not paying for it, it's kind of a gimmick because the app doesn't just refresh the way it's supposed to, which is really quite frustrating and annoying. But let's show you this. This is pretty cool. So now if we get to the rear over here, this is where they teach you how to basically surf on their flow rider, which is really cool. So you can see here, wipe out. But it's really nice. You can come up here. Again, they have one of these things where you can watch people. I'm not sure why or who you'd be watching here. I guess who's ever showing the class, which is kind of interesting, or whoever's surfing. This is pretty nice. They'll allow you to surf this. They'll teach you how to surf it and how to boogie board it. You do have to sign a waiver and other things, and you do have to be old enough. And again, I believe the minimum is 48 inches. So if your kids don't meet that requirement, that's gonna suck because they're gonna wanna do this. But if we come back here, I believe this is an adults only pool area. If I'm not mistaken, no kids here, but this is very chill, very cool, because it is an infinity pool and you are looking off the rear side of the ship, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. And I believe the only way to get down there is through this deck back here. So if we go over here, this is the one they drop you off. So it's called category. So I'm assuming it's some sort of hurricane or something that they shoot you down and then you go down that way, which is interesting. They call it the storm chaser and the frightening bolt. So essentially you would get up to go there, and there's one that shoots out there, and I'm not sure where the other one. They do have a gym area for you to play dodgeball, I think is what they're playing right now. And then this is where your kids, when they're younger like mine, will hang out probably most of the time, is this area over here, and I'll show you that in a few. This is called the Hideaway. And this you can see adults, only 18 plus. They have a nice hot tub, which I probably want to come and hang out with Megan back here at some point tonight, because I haven't been in a hot tub out here, and that's my jam, that's my thing. But two big hot tubs that you can kind of just hang out and chill with back here. And it looks like they have a really nice, beautiful area for you to just kind of hang out and watch outside of the rear of the ship, which is really nice. So come and get beautiful pictures back here with you and your significant other and whoever else is 18 or older. But it's nice. I can see that those decks definitely have the better, nicer area, but they're probably big money to be back there. And then you can see the very rear of the ship. Very beautiful. Same thing over there, just Hideaway, probably a bar of some sort. And again, that's this infinity pool I was telling you about, which is really nice and chill. It looks like 3 separate pools. That's what it looks like. Nice shower area here. You got 2 showers and then obviously a towel rental area. And it looks like to be just beds to sunbathe or kind of just hang out if you really want to. So you get an idea, because I haven't dipped my feet in here. It's not even a foot deep here, which is really nice. And then obviously you have a bed here to just kind of hang and watch as the ship just kind of goes away, which is really nice. I really have to bring Megan back here because it's quite mesmerizing to be back here. I don't know if we're getting raindrops from this or just a cloud up ahead that we're getting rain from, but it's beautiful back here. So if we get out of here, I'll show you the kids area I was talking about. Again, very handicap oriented. There is a way to get for you, if you are in a wheelchair, for you to get down in there. I don't know about getting in the pool, but you can definitely get down in there. Very windy back here, but this year it's a kids area. I apologize if it's super windy, but this is where you'll find them playing mini golf. Looks like someone got a hole-in-one. In the basketball court or gym area, open court for people to walk around. Another all-inclusive, all-you-can-eat. Very nice, simple mini golf here. It is open 24/7 for the time that you are on here, which is really cool. Let me show you that. Really cool because they have the golf clubs here. But then if you come to here, this is a ball dispenser. But it dispenses a ball, gives you a ball, and then you grab that and you can play. But this is another fun area where you'll find my kids most of the time too. Again, another bar area, all you can eat inclusive food. But over here, I didn't realize how popular these would be, but it's basically soccer tables for you to play soccer in, which is really cool. If your kids are shorter, it'll be a little harder, but for the most part, my boys love this. Then they have rock climbing balls from 1 to 5, and 5 being the hardest, obviously. You do have to be a minimum of 6 years old for you to be able to climb this, which is a major drawback if you have a 5-year-old like Augie who wants to climb. Hopefully it's not too windy. And I don't know if Royal Caribbean will ever watch this. If you do, great. If you don't, this area right here is probably the most dumb area that I think the ship has to offer. They call this a ropes course, but you basically, there's a stairway that you can come up through from right there. You go up there, you come around this bridge, you come around this area, you come up to the zip line and you zip line 180 degrees and then you're back. And you have to pay for this. It's not like you can have this for free or as part of the all-inclusive. You have to pay for it. It is cool that you're off the side of the ship doing this. You are strapped up. You are in these dumb-looking suits. So if it's 100 degrees and it's boiling outside, you're inside these suits that you're going to get really hot with. But that's something that they wanted to offer, and here it is. They have to offer it. But in my opinion, the only reason I think it's really dumb is because of the fact that you have to pay for it. If it was something that was all-inclusive and part of it, I would probably have a lot more respect for it, but it's really dumb because you have to pay for it. Like if you go to Mexico, or I think it was, what was it called, Raton, Honduras, this, you pay for it and you get so much more out of your money for it. I think it's like 3 or 4 people at a time with a guide. So there is an even other level more above this, but again, you have more of the cabana areas. But let's try and get up to that one because I don't believe I've been up to that one. Let's see how we can get there. Again, this is the only pool area for kids and adults, and now it's closed. And then the rear is where the other pool area is. Kind of lame that they close it so early. They It is only 8 p.m. and it's already closed, which is kind of interesting. I know it closed the other day because somebody had glass in there and it broke, which is also really lame. But it looks like some of the hot tubs are still open and available. And I lied, there's another small pool area here, but again, it's closed again, which is kind of lame. Life jackets if you do need them, which is really nice that they do offer these. And now we walk into the most forward deck here, deck 16. And this is where they offer the coastal kitchen, which is a suite lounge. I don't even know how you can get into this, to be 100% honest, but it looks pretty fetty to me, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why they offered it, but I guess you have to either make reservations or be somebody to get into there. It looks like we have suite neighborhood, coastal kitchen, and then we have suite neighborhood. So I'm assuming these are very expensive suites to get up into. So we'll go to the very top over here. Level 17. And you can tell this is fancy just by the way that it is. The numbers, the fact that they're really wide hallways, and then let's see what we see in the very front over here. This is my first time up here. It's part of the coastal kitchen as well. But let's see what's up here to offer. We start going towards the back of the ship. Looks like there is another pool area over here. And some, not cabanas, but private area here if you want day beds. But there is a pool up here that is still open past 8 p.m., which is really nice to know. Assuming this is somebody's deck over here that they have really nice views of. But it's kind of crazy how dark it's getting really quickly here. This is 4 feet deep, which is nice. And then we keep walking around the back. Sorry for the wind. We are under sail. We are underway. And then you get a really nice view of the rest of the ship here from the top side, which is nice. And it looks like there is an overhanging hot tub too, with some more day bed areas. This is quite interesting. Never been up here. And then you can see where the exhaust for the fumes of the engines are going. This is powered by natural gas ship, which is really interesting. We'll go towards the aft, which is the rear of the actual ship. It looks like we've made it to the smokers area, because you could smoke back here. Because this is a first, I haven't seen this before, so this area is meant for smokers to come and smoke and drink. Looks like a cigar area, which is kind of interesting. And then that's more of the areas over there for you to climb up to go to the slides and all that. Come around the back, and this is how we get to the sports court. I still want to go to the very front to see what the very front has to offer. I think there's one more level that goes up. Here it is, we get to the sports area. And they're currently playing dodgeball is what it looks like. And what we could do is open this area and get in here. This is cool. What is cool is this is all netted so the balls won't go flying anywhere. And then you can see where the highest drop of the water park is, which is really cool. And we'll go back out this caged area. Looks like there is one more deck. Saying to go to level A, but you know what? There's a set of stairs. Let's take the stairs and let's see what's on level 18. It says that it's a suite neighborhood. So I'm assuming there's a bunch of suites up here. And it looks like the Grove Sunset Underdeck. I don't know what this is all about. But it looks like it's closed. But it looks like there is a buffet area there. And it looks like pretty fetty decks are up here, or like expensive decks. So what would be up here? Suite guests only. So yeah, look, it says reserved for star class and sky class, which is really interesting. So it's only if you're fetty wop, if you got a big spending money. Well, let's take you down to casino. I believe that was the last thing I needed to show you. Showed you the suite neighborhood, the suite neighborhoods, sports courts, Thrill Island, Windjammer, staterooms. Really don't need to show you much there. Surfside showed you absolute zero, dining room, jogging. Pretty much showed you the dining rooms. There's not much to show you there. The jogging track. The casinos where we're headed next, and then the conference center really isn't much. There's a music hall, and then it looks like the Royal Theater, which is where I'm gonna head to meet up with some family. And right below it on the very front is the medical center. We could try to go down there, and then after the medical center we'll head to the casino. So So this is Music Hall of Fame. We'll check that out in a second because I don't think I've shown that. But I wanted to check the medical center. So it looks like they're from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So not much you can do there. I'm sure if there's an emergency, they'll be able to help you. But let's walk through here and show you the casino. But you could also see the music hall that's here as well. So if we walk in, this is a music hall. They usually have a live band that plays in here, which is really cool. And they have a nice bar here as well. I think the band is called the Phoenix, or the Phoenix, or something like that. This is really cool wall. It's kind of like an amphitheater style. But then if you sneak through here, you can get to the casino. And it does share 2 decks, so you have an upper side and a lower side to be able to watch a show from there, which is cool. But if you walk in, you pretty much get a glimpse of the casino. It is a smoking casino, which is really cool. And that goes pretty much halfway there. That's pretty much it. So we made it to Coco Cay, which is their own private island, which is pretty cool. Only complaint I have here is not enough shade. But now we're gonna look for our family to see where they're at.
Look at that.
We're gonna go see what we can be with the boys. So I wanted to finish the video on the cruise, but we didn't have enough time, so we're actually off the cruise. And Megan is gonna be here with us to talk about what her thoughts are on Icon of the Sea. I gave you the tour, you saw everything, you kind of heard my opinions, and then there's still a couple things. But Megan, tell us what you think. What are your thoughts about Icon of the Sea?
It was good. It definitely was by far my favorite cruise.
I mean, we've only ever been on 2 cruises, so
total. So yes. That was our second one.
What was the first one you went on, so you can have a comparison?
Was it Princess?
It was Princess Cruises, and we went where?
To Alaska.
Alaska, yeah.
That was a lot of fun, but this was definitely a lot more fun. This was geared more towards families, especially like younger families and kids, but there were still a lot of fun adult-only things to do, and I really enjoyed our experience overall. The staff was incredible. The activities, again, were just amazing.
Yeah.
And the shows were
definitely
insane.
Worthwhile to go watch. And for reference, Princess Cruises are the worst to go if you have young kids. They're really not geared for it.
For like retirees.
Yeah, like you're meant to go like there was a lot of people on scooters and like mobility things, and that's really what it was meant for. Not that we're shaming those people at all whatsoever.
The most like active or like most fun thing that we really did on that cruise was karaoke, and our group of like 40 or 50 people.
What was it, 50?
It was a lot. There was a lot of people in our group because it was my entire family. We kind of overtook it and did karaoke, and so that was fun, but I think that was really the only thing in that cruise that was really entertaining.
Overall, I personally, the one complaint that I have, well, not one complaint, I have several complaints about the cruise in general. Biggest one is there is no laundromat, so if you want to do self-laundry, you're not going to find that on board, which is really a big downside in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you can pay for laundry.
You can, but that's where my next point was going to be.
Yeah.
Anything and everything, there's like an add-on. So like, internet package, I think was like $12 a day, or maybe even more than that. Maybe it was like 20, I don't remember, to be honest with you. If I look it up and put it on there, I'll look it up and try it, but honestly wasn't worth it. In my opinion, it was somewhat worth it, but most of the time not. The only people I really saw use it were the ones that were really wanting to be on social media, which wasn't really us. We wanted to disconnect, and all were people that had children that wanted to watch things on an iPad, but that was pretty much it. But there is a lot of add-ons, like I showed you in the video, that it just kind of was like unnecessary. I don't think that we needed an add-on for this or an add-on for that. I think it should have been inclusive. Or like, okay, cool, you want to charge for laundry, but let me do it myself, where it's like Coinbase, where it's like $1 or $2 to use a washer and a dryer or something like that. So they didn't have that. That was a downside. The room that we stayed in, we fit as a family of 5, but it's really only meant for 3 people. So if you wanted to book that, they wouldn't let you. They would force you to book a room that's meant for 6 people, which is like even more expensive than the room we booked. We didn't have a window that opened, but that wasn't a downside. I thought that was fine.
It was totally fine. I really liked, that was the thing with like the Princess Cruise. If you were on the inside of the ship, which we were, this cruise, with the Princess ship, you didn't have a window.
Yeah, you had nothing.
It was
darkness.
literally just like a box.
Actually,
And-
no. What they did was they put like a fake picture of like a window. You don't remember that, but yeah, it was like a fake picture of a window, so it looked like a window. So when you turn on the lights, it would light up that fake window, which was kind of interesting.
That is really interesting.
You were saying that you love that you had a window. What?
Yeah, I know. I love that because of the design of the ship. They had what's called Central Park. I don't know if you showed that in the video.
I did. I showed
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had one of the windows that was facing Central Park. I mean, if you were really wanting the view, we didn't really have that just because there was like a ledge. It said like a 10% obstruction or
yep.
whatever. It was definitely more like 50, 60%. But that's okay. Like we weren't worried.
And to be fair, we would have to book the 6-person room, but we got lucky because it was a group of 15 of us, and their room happened to have enough room to put 2 of our children into it, so
Yeah.
we didn't have to worry about that. But otherwise, we would have had to get like one of the balcony rooms, I think it is,
Yeah.
or 6-person room, which in retrospect was actually big enough. I think it was much bigger than most people had initially thought. So
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because we live in a small space as it is.
yes,
But I felt very comfortable. We were there for 7 days, and it didn't feel tight at all.
no, it
We
didn't.
also had a lot of activities to do, so we weren't really in the room very much, except for to sleep and
Yeah.
wake up, go to bed, sort
Yeah.
of thing. No, I mean, I guess the downside, not necessarily a downside.
Just hit us with the
We
truth.
didn't love the food.
Yeah.
The food quality wasn't great. They had a lot of options, which was wonderful.
Yes.
They had a ton of options. Like you could eat somewhere new pretty much every day.
Yeah. Well, you could eat somewhere new every day that was all inclusive, but most of the time
Yeah.
it was whatever they had in the main dining rooms or all the other places.
Which was
so.
the like buffet or whatever. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they had like a crepe station, which was really cool.
Oh yeah, crepes 10 out of 10. Like that's
were
probably
really
the best
good.
thing on the ship in my opinion.
Yeah, they had a lot of different, like a lot of variety, but the quality of the food, and I feel like you're gonna find this anywhere with any all-inclusive place or any cruise or anything. It's just not high quality.
Right.
It's definitely more like
It's mass produced
It's
is the thing. So think
mass-produced,
about it. They were
yeah.
telling us that we had like 16,000 pounds of meat. Like in that cruise that week that we were there was about 16,000 pounds of just meat. Or like beef, I think is what they said, which is insane to think. So it's like, to put that in retrospect, that's a lot of meat.